Hello, welcome to this new Apphive tutorial. In this tutorial, I am explaining you how you can create your own delivery application. If this is the first time you saw these videos, I very recommend you to to go to our YouTube channel and search for the complete playlist. And also in the description, you can find the link to the playlist where you can start creating the application from the beginning. In this series of videos, we're creating the different application to have a delivery application, the application for the customer, for the driver, administrator, and the business or the restaurant. So, and all these applications are communicated to offer this kind of service. And we're creating this step by step without coding, just using a no-code tool, Apphive. So you can go to Apphive and start creating your application. Okay, in the last video, we added the option to add a custom address. So now in our application, we have our checkout. We already have our cart or products from the database or using management, logging with social networks. And now, we already have this address option. You can see like we have our autocomplete. So we can start writing an address and we have automatic suggestions. We have also the get geolocation, so we can read the GPS, the geolocation using the GPS. So you can write the address or you can get it from the GPS of the phone. And then we have these Google Maps with our marker, so we can change the address. And also we use geocoding to convert the latitude and longitude from the map to an address. And we save this information into the database and the user. So now we have the address, and also we calculate the delivery uh, depending on the distance. We calculate the distance from our business in the database to the customer. And depending on this distance, we calculate the delivery price. So we have the subtotal, we have the delivery, we have also the fee. And in this video, we're going to calculate the tip that will depend on the subtotal, and have some suggestions. So we can suggest like different tips, well, depending on the subtotal. It's a percentage of this, and we're going to create this list to have different like suggestions and display the total of the order. And with this total, we're ready then to have the cards and start and go to checkout. Well, to pay with a credit card, we are going to integrate with Stripe. But for now, we're going to add the tip and calculate the total to finish this checkout page. So to continue, let's start. Okay. Well, we are here. We have our checkout page where we have the subtotal, delivery, service fee. We calculate this by using a process. So we have this process called service fee. We only need to send the subtotal, and this process is calculating the service fee from the configuration we have on the database. So we're reading the service fee from the database, and like we can change it and change on the database, just saving percentage in the database, and it's going to change the service fee. This is very useful, especially if you are starting a new business and maybe you are changing very often the percentages. No, so well, one day you start with one price, but sometimes you need to start changing this. And you can change in the database, and it change on all the applications that are using, well, all the customers that are using your application will have the new fee. Okay. So now we're going to calculate the tip. It's very similar than when we calculate the service fee, but the difference is that we have now a list here. Remember, when we create the homepage, we have our list for products here. We have a list with products and a list with categories. Here we are going to create a list, but this list is created depending on the tips, because we're going to suggest different tips, from different percentages, well, depending the subtotal. So we're going to create an app process. Well, it's a good idea to create an app process, so we can create the function as the other functions for delivery price and also for the fee. Okay, so I'm going to click here to create an app process, and this app process will be for tips for now. Okay, we need the subtotal because we're going to calculate the tips based on the subtotal, and we are going to have a list with the different percentages based on the subtotal. To make that, we can use this function called range iteration. Yeah, you can manually, for example, have some arithmetic operations. For example, you can have an arithmetic operation for each of the percentages. For example, you can create an arithmetic operation with the subtotal and with, I don't know, for 10%. And then, well, use this percentage and, well, for each one. But sometimes it's, well, more work and more difficult to update later. So we're going to use this function called range iteration. Range iteration creates a list of values, well, an array of values from an start to end, and depending on interval. For example, if I start on 1 and end on 100, and the interval is 5, it is going to create a list with 1, 6, well, starting from 0 will be easy. So it's going to create a list from 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So it's going to create a list with all the elements between these two values. So we can start, for example, from 0 for tip, and maybe 5%, like, so to have 0, 5%, 10, 15, 20, 25, like maybe until, I know, a good tip could be 30 or 35. No? Okay. So we're going to create a list with these values. So on finish, when it's finished, we have this list with all these values from 0, because 0% of tip, with 5%, 10, 15. Okay, so we have this list in the unfinished as a result of this range iteration. Then we're going to use the for each. For each allow us, like in the same we did when we create the card, that we can do something for each element on a list from the database. We have also an array right now with all the elements for the list. So we have these elements with 0, 5%, 10%. Okay, so we're going to send as an entry bar the range iteration, and we have different modes for sync or async. Async is always faster, but it is useful only if doesn't matter the order of the execution of the iterations. Okay, for example, when we are on the cards, it is very important the order, because we are considering that we are going to sum first the first item, and then the second, and then the third. But now doesn't import the order. It's not important, because we are only changing like the percentage, and that is a product of from the percentage and the subtotal what we are getting here. So when we are running the for each, click on functions, and we have here our own compute function. And compute function is what is going to happen on each iteration. So we're going to add here the arithmetic operation, because we're going to multiply the for each item. Why the for each item is because it's each element on our array we have here. So we have an array with some elements 0, 5, 10, 20. So we are reading here this value from the for each. And the operator B is going to be the subtotal. Okay, we have already the operator. So in my end, we have in the subtotal 100, and on our item from the iteration, we have 10%. So we are getting, as a result of this arithmetic operation, 10, no? Because it's 100 multiplied by 10% is 10, or 200 by 10 is 12, 20. Okay. So, and we're going to send these results as a compute back. Okay, compute back, and send the result of this arithmetic operation. Remember, each time that you use an onCompute, for example, here for the for each is one of each elements on this list, we need to send the onCompute back. In the past, we didn't send anything in the return value, because we saved the sum of all the items on a variable. But now we need, as a result, a list with all the results. So we are going to, each time that we send something on the onCompute back, we are sending the result of the arithmetic operation to create a new list of items. Okay, so on done, we can send success. And on done, we're going to send the success callback. I just create this callback, and we're going to send the success callback, sending the result of the for each. So we have now a list with all the suggested tips based on the subtotal. Okay. So now we have our app process complete. We have our app process for tips, and we are going to use this app process here. In the old node, I'm going to add this process I just created called tips. And I need to send the subtotal. Subtotal I already have. I send this information from the other page. And what I'm going to do, well, after on the success, I have this list. I can check if everything is working fine, so I can send an alert with the result of the tips. I can also debug this alert. So what I hope to have here is an array, a list of all the suggested tips. So we're going to create a list with all of this. So let's test it. So in my cart, the total is 90. Press the checkout. And I didn't receive the alert. Let's see, something happens here. Let's debug the range iteration. Yeah, the interval is very small. Let's try with a big interval. So let's add to my cart. Oh, wait, yeah, I set the interval each 5. Wait, again. Yeah, we have this result because yeah, is the numbers are now int numbers, so we only need to have here another arithmetic operation because we have the now numbers 5, but we need to have this in percentage. So to convert this, I'm going to use this result of the arithmetic operation, and we're going to make a division to get the percentage. And we are sending this last arithmetic operation. Okay, so now we have the item, for example, 5, the multiplication for the subtotal, for example, 100. So we are getting 5 and 100, we are getting 500. And then we have a division here from 500 and 100. So we are getting 5 as suggested tip. And it's going to happen for each value here we have. Okay, let's test again. Yep. Now we have 0, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 30, 25, and 15. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So we have this list with all the suggested tips. Okay. So the next, we already have these tips. So the next is to create a list here with all the tips. So to create list, we use the add collections to UI. So this function allows us to create list. and we're going to enable horizontal list because we're creating an horizontal list. We're using the information we get from tips, and on modified elements, I'm going to select this list because I'm going to create a list on this space, and I'm going to send, well, I'm going to change the value from the text, but as this time we don't have an object with different properties. As when we read information from the database, we have objects on each iteration with different properties. For example, we have the object from the product, and this product has a name and a price. But now we have just an array with numbers because we have the numbers, well, the 0, 5, 10. No, we have only numbers. So we're going to send all the item because it's the content of this array and display on that space here. So let's see, where with this we already have the list for tips. So let's go back and go again to checkout. Okay, you can see we have our suggested tips. And well, the next is we need to select and press like what is the tip we are going to add to our order. So when we need to add an action here, when I press a tip, so I select one of these tips, for example, $5. I'm going to add this as a tip, and with this tip, now we can calculate the total. Okay, to make that, we only need to add an event here on the bottom, and on press, when I press this button, I'm going to save in the page value. I need to save here. I'm going to create a new page input data called tip. And when I press, I'm going to save the tip, and I'm going to send the list context, which is the number we have from the tip. Okay, so we're going to save this, and also, well, also we will need to calculate the total. So how we can calculate the total? We need to send all the information we have. We need to send the subtotal, the delivery, service fee, and tip. And also, we are going to change the color depending if this tip is the selected tip. So I am thinking that it's a better option instead of create this add collection here. I'm going to move this add collection inside my function here. Okay, so I'm going to use this the information we read from the for each and create the add collection here instead of here. So it's the same. You see what I just did? I copy this function and add this function inside my for each function, well, my app process. I can move the functions from the page to my process. Why I'm moving this function is because I'm going to call this function again and again as a recursive function, because each time that I press to a tip, I need to save into, I'm going to send the tip here. Let's send this tip as a callback instead of success. I'm going to send the tip here in the callback. I'm going to send the tip. Okay. Now we are going to send this tip to the page. Okay. We have the list of tips here. When I press one of these tips, we are going to send this tip here. And here is now where we are going to save in the page. Okay, we're going to save as a tip on the page, and then we're going to calculate the total with all the information we have from the subtotal, delivery, service fee. So we're going to calculate this total. So we're going to create another process called total, and we're going to send all the information we need to calculate the total. We need the subtotal, we need the delivery, we need also the service, and we need the tip. Yeah, that's all. Subtotal, delivery, service, and tip. And it's an easy process. We only need an arithmetic operation and sum all these values. The subtotal, the delivery, the service, and if we need another operator, we can add this. Just I need something else for a tip. So I have here a tip, and I'm going to sum the tip. Okay, now we have the sum of all the elements: tip, subtotal plus delivery plus service. Okay, we have the total here, and we're going to send as a callback to send the result of this arithmetic operation. Okay, also, well, yes, we are sending the total because we're calculating this total here. I am thinking, yeah, well, we will need to add the tip, and then we can calculate the total, sending this information from, we already have this information, we already have the subtotal, the delivery, we don't have the delivery as a variable, so let's see, here we have the delivery fee. We are only changing this control to display the delivery fee, but also will be very useful to have this as a variable. So we have the subtotal, delivery, service, and tip. Subtotal, delivery, service, and tip. Okay. Now this is for the delivery. After change the control, we're going to save this delivery in the variable. So we are calculating the delivery fee, and after we calculate this, we are saving as a variable on the page. And the same with the service fee. After calculate the service fee, we're going to save this into our page variable. Okay, so we save also the service fee. So at this point, we have all the variables we need. We need the delivery, the subtotal, also the service, and finally the tip. Okay, we have all the things that we need to calculate the total. And also, well, we can add the modify controls to change the total here and the total here in the callback, or we can do the same inside the function. I'm going to do inside this function. So I'm going to add the modify control. We have the total as a result of this arithmetic operation. And I'm going to change the total, changing the text to display the total. And also I need another modify control because I have another total. I have a total here on the, I have a total here and another total here on the bottom. Okay, let's see. Go to checkout and I select this, and you see we have the total. We're not changing the tip here. Let's change this. So inside the tips, when I press a tip, we send this callback, but also we're going to change or modify a control with the value of the tip. And we're going to modify the text we are displaying here on the tip. Okay, so let's reload, go to checkout, and you see I have the tip. When I press each tip, I am changing the tip here and also changing the total because it's the sum of all the elements on this page. But it's a little confusing because I'm not seeing like what is the chosen tip. So how we can display the selected tip? Okay, so it's not difficult. Here we can change, for example, the background color of this container, and we're going to change depending on one thing. So if the tip we have in as an entry bar, if the tip is the same as the element, we're going to have one color. If not, we're going to have this transparent. But for this, we need a tip here as an entry. We need the tip here. And yeah, that's all that we need. We need the tip here. And yeah, that's all. So we can change the background color depending on the tip. So let's add a complex function and a condition. So we're going to compare the tip we have on from entry bar. We're going to compare it with the with the value we have on this iteration. If they are the same, if we have the same tip on this element than the tip we are receiving from the tip value, if it's true, we're going to send in the compute back. For example, if it's the same, if it's selected, we can send, I don't know, like this color. If it's not the same, we're going to send transparent. Okay. So it depends on the tip, but to make this work, each time that I send the tip here, we're going to set the value, and also we're going to here when we are creating this list on the tips, we also need to call the same function inside. Okay, so we're going to call these tips here and send the subtotal and the tip. And in the callback, we're going to send the tip we get from this function. So it's an interesting concept because this is a recursive function. Each time when we press a tip, we are calling this same function to re-render again the list with all the tips. So let's see how this works. Go to checkout. And if I select one of these tips, well, it's changing, but it's not changing the color. Let's see what is happening here. Yeah, I am changing the border color. No. I need to change the background. Yeah, the background. It's the same. We're going to use a conditional, and we're going to compare all the item and the tip. Okay, all the item and the tip. And if they are the same, yeah, we're going to send a different color, could be a gray. If they are not the same, we're going to send transparent. So we have, if it's the same color, well, it's the same, the tip we select and this tip of the current item, we're going to change the background. If it's not the same, it's transparent. So let's see how this works. Yeah, maybe there is something with this container. Let's see if we have a background color. Yeah, maybe just is so. Yeah, let's see the background, and if the tip is the same, yeah, we're sending this color for background. Okay. And when we press this, we are sending, I know we need to send as a tip, the context list. Okay. Yeah, because we're changing the tip each time that we press one of these items. Okay. So let's test in our application here. No, you can see that the color change depending what is the selected tip. We can have also the full tip. I don't know, for example, when we open and load, we can add a default tip. That this tip, we can add this using a complex function, an arithmetic operation, and we can have a default tip, for example, I don't know, the 10%. So we have this multiplication on here, and we can send this as a default tip. Okay, so we can send this a default tip um, when we started the page and when we open this page. So we have this as a default tip when we open this page. So now we have the tip, the total, the service fee, delivery subtotal, and also we have the tip ready. So the next, as we have now the total, is to start adding the integration with Stripe. So in this integration, we are going to start to adding cards, save the cards, and create the charge and validate that the payment was successful. So we can save the order on our database and well, continue with this process for checkout. So that's all for now. We're going to continue tomorrow with all these steps. And thank you for watching and see you the next time.